Hi, this is episode 1 of, I'm going to call it Virtual Presence Podcast. And this will not always have a guest, but you kind of are the reason I even thought of doing this.
Hey.
So I'm going to screw it up. So what's your name?
How you doing? My name is David, aka Kuya David, aka Kuya Quattro, aka the Digital David, the Pen-Click Prime Minister. Hey, follow me on DOVR, YouTube VR, and not Meta TV, because they ban a lot of my videos for
Why?
motion sickness.
So they actually watch them?
Yeah, I apparently their whole 1 week long moderation service. They've seen some of my videos and they're like, no, you can't post that.
Whoa!
Not for content, but because it's
so
motion sickness.
I should be happy.
Yeah,
that I'm even still on there.
Let me ask you this,
Okay.
because you've been consistently uploading to Meta TV.
Yeah.
Okay, because I can't upload more than 10 videos.
Well, just recently I uploaded something on January 5th.
Right.
It's been processing for a week, and then I was like, I'll just upload it again. Been processing for 3 days, so something happened, but I did 74 before that, so I don't know.
Not to jump into some ultra meta.
Oh, it's a lot of meta.
Whole lot of
Yeah,
meta.
so-
Not to jump into meta stuff, but yeah. Let me complete my introduction. Hey, Kuya David out here, out from LA, West. Yeah, I'm a fellow VR videographer. I'm also an art director in entertainment advertising. So all those social digital ads you see for what is it, Yellow Jackets or Ninja Turtles or whatever, a lot of movies and film, I might have done it. So, watch out for that little Photoshop hand of mine. You might find my little initials somewhere. I'm just kidding. You're not allowed to do that.
The
Sorry.
guy that is usually sitting here, a little different energy. Just a little different energy. He's a little older. Have to I've got to reel him in a little bit, so this is kind of nice. I'm just going to sit here half the time. But let me at least introduce how I know you, how all this started.
Oh, my days.
I started hardcore doing the VRLOG thing October 22, right? I hadn't even found DOVR. I got in with Meta. They approved me, and I started doing it there. Didn't have a great computer, I wanted a K60. I just felt like, why do it if you can't do it the best, right? Because I bought this camera, I'm like, God damn it. So I finally said, fuck it, I gotta buy a $5,000 computer, because there's no other way to truly be able to shoot something, get the files ready, and actually edit without that.
It's a process.
It's a big process.
It's a big
right
process.
now.
Hopefully you have a matching beast of a machine to do it too.
I almost feel like you have to build it to spec at this point. It's so hard.
It's wild.
So I finally got that in December, January. I found DOVR. I started slowly uploading to them, and I thought my idea was, right now it's just adult entertainment, porn. It's just that's all anybody's using this for. I'm going to do my best to get this out there, mainstream. This format is being held back by really shitty videos.
Yes.
Right? It's a great format. Like when HD came out, everybody's like, that is great, and they just went ahead.
Let me tell to the people, right?
Okay.
VR will not make a boring idea interesting. It'll make your idea even more boring.
Yeah.
The worst thing you could do for a VR user is to make them bored in VR, because they went through so much friction
just to
put on the headset. And then you bore them with a bad idea, with a bad music video, with a terrible, awful, stupid dance that only lasts 15 seconds, so you don't even know where you are. Awful. Don't do that.
Yeah. There's such a barrier to entry.
Such a barrier of entry.
The fact that you guys are even sitting here at this bar with us is like, okay, we got you here, so we're going to try to keep you entertained.
Cheers.
Although this isn't, the idea of this is not super exciting. This is just a conversation. And I don't think any of these kind of videos are going to get popular until the headsets become so comfortable that you're not even thinking about it, right?
So this is for the future, because I thought you were gonna do this, and in my mind, let me tell you a quick story. I have this short film called Rideshare.
Right.
As I was doing it, doing pre-planning, I was telling all the homies about it. So one of the homies was asking me about it. I'm trying to explain to him what VR video is.
Right.
And he said, "Why do that? Why not just make a regular video? It's a lot easier."
Yeah.
And in my drunken mind, being the VR evangelist I am, I was like, "Oh shit, he got me!" What? It's facts. But then I remembered, oh wait, VR is an immersive experience that you can't. It's something that you can only experience that is more than 2D when done right.
When done right,
it's experiential. But the point of that story was that it made me question before every time I do a VR video, or virtues as I like to call them, is to always ask myself, is this worth doing in VR? Why not just do it as a regular 2D video flat?
Right.
And so when it comes to like podcasts or long format of people talking heads, because there are people who do it on DLVR, and bless them for trying, but a lot of them are boring.
Right.
And to keep and it's because people are boring too. Sorry, but to keep them engaged, it's like, oh, you're here, you're at the bar with us, hey, and we got to act like that too.
And also, you know that I'm a big into overlaying things in 3 dimensions, right? So like
same.
Right here is going to be something. I don't just want to put a TV up. I want to take the time to use the 3D. That's the whole point. That's what's so nice about it.
Shout out to future Adam, who's using plane to sphere and using it to warp out and create disparity, so it's in front of my hand and make sure there's no disparity. It's fucking with my hands.
Fuck you.
And what if I do it here? Are you gonna push it forward? Are you gonna increase disparity?
He knows exactly how much work he's making.
It's awful.
Well, that, and the other thing is I edit in the VR headset. Like, I've got it all set up, and that, which is hard. It takes a long time, and you got to have serious processing power, and shit crashes all the time.
Do you use OVR toolkit for your monitors, or do you use like Steam overlay? What do you use to see your timeline?
When Apple signs with the NFL, I will be happy to share any of that stuff. For right now, that feels proprietary as fuck, because nobody else is doing what I'm doing, and I think it's because I found some shortcuts, and I'm like, oh god, until I've at least made a name for Virtual Presence Productions, and like I gotta shut the fuck up about the actual little secrets.
Right.
But I can just tell you that if you're not editing in your headset in the VR world, there are certain things you just can't do. Like, I mean, if you watch my NFL pitch reel, like, my good, there's shit everywhere. There's things coming in from here. I keep you going. I keep you motivated. I keep you wanting to see what's going to happen next. Even when we're talking about stuff and it comes up here, you're like, oh, fuck, look, it's right in the fucking thing. You know, to me, that's what makes it, but it means I got to sit. It takes so much longer to do all that stuff. I still haven't even gotten to why I know you.
Right.
Come on, man. Let's get into the story. So basically, I was doing all this in a vacuum. I first thing I did was a Super Nintendo World. I'm like, okay, well, this will blow up.
Right.
No, not at all. Because everybody at Nintendo was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Nobody cares about 360 video.
By the way, it was really adorable how your kids were just like,
it
was amazing.
Take much.
It was really cute.
They've been waiting.
You should have checked out the video here.
Yeah, oh, you bitch! Don't please don't make it like maybe stop doing that. And so it was just a vacuum, and I couldn't get anybody at DOVR. Meta TV never even responded. The people at DOVR at least responded, but there was they were clearly pushing their own stuff and nothing else. But I started getting some supporters or favorites or whatever, and you took the time. I'm not sure which one it was after. Was it the baseball one? I'm not sure which one.
No, it was VR Revolution.
Yes, VR180 Revolution. Yeah,
I was thinking about doing something exactly like you did, but you beat me to the punch like this motherfucker.
Yeah, but you took your headset off. You got on the computer and you wrote out and you found me. And I was like, thank you. Because not getting any feedback, I mean, I don't need feedback, but it's nice to get it. But to get zero for months?
A big part of why social media works is because it's social, right? YouTube is low-key a social media platform because, you build community. You build community within the comments. You build community with creators.
Right.
How do you build community if you're not able to communicate?
Right.
It's
madness.
So
bad. It's so bad. I mean, there should be such an easy text-to-speech thing.
So how I was able to comment on you is that I have to favorite it in headset and then go on desktop and then refine your video in my favorites, and then I'll click in and then I type in on 2D. It's madness.
Yeah, I'm already on the PC uploading.
Yeah.
So I can check my comments real easy through there.
Kinda. You have to be vigilant about checking because they don't give you real notifications.
Oh, there's no notifications. I just think, I wonder if somebody's, or I just look at my page and see, oh, there's a comment, and I click it, and that kind of stuff. But I was so impressed that you took the time, and then of course I looked into you and so on and so forth. And then when all the stuff with the NFL came up, I'm like, I needed a base of people here that believe in VR, right? Because there's a lot of people that want to be involved with what I'm doing, but they're not actual filmmakers or pushing, or there's I don't know, it's this ambition thing, right? Where people like, I believe in this, I'm going to go and go and go and go and go.
Or they're like professional 2D videographers. They're just trying to future-proof their skill set, but they don't have like real passion for VR.
Yes.
You see that a lot. Yeah. Like when you watch some people's videos, you can like, oh, you don't really fuck with VR, huh?
Well, which is also, is it 360? Is it 180? Is it blurry? Right. Is it I mean, before what I was doing, I don't think anybody was using a gimbal because you were getting motion sickness, and I was like, dude, you have to be able to how am I going to do stuff?
You have to change frame. The frame gets stale after a while.
Yeah.
You have to be able to move the camera.
So and that's hard. Like I fucked it up a bunch of times. I had to keep doing it over and over and over again. I finally feel comfortable now. And you know, if I'm doing sports, my God, that's something you can't fuck up.
Right.
You can't lose. I mean, what if you're at the Super Bowl and you know there's a moment like you fuck that up, you just lost everything.
Right.
So, but no. Anyway, that's how you just made a comment. I found you, and then I said, dude, let's talk about the state of VR180. I think that's just. I feel like there needs to be something talking about that. I know the dudes that are doing that other podcast, the Stereoscope or whatever, and they're very cool guys. But it occurred to me that literally what's happening with me is kind of what the future of VR180 is right now. And I kind of have...
It's exciting.
It is very exciting. It's kind of like, oh shit, I could just be documenting or reporting on what's literally happening on my phone calls. And that's because we're at a precipice right now.
Yes.
If you don't know, I'm working for the NFL. I did a test with the Rams. Were you able to see that? Yeah.
Everyone drink every time he says NFL.
Oh yeah, please.
You smash by
Please don't. That's a secret thing that I let you see. Do not say
that. Of course.
I will blur you up. But I did that, and it went over so well. They believe they can pitch it or sell it to Apple or Meta. Anytime now. We're all just waiting.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, Apple Vision Pro is coming out right around the corner. Are you going to do it?
No.
Yeah, I am.
I know. I know, like, a lot of videographers, a lot of VR people are. Like, when you watch Sadly It's Bradley, he's like, yeah, I'm going to sell my other kidney to do it.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, my days.
I mean, I got 2 people, like, the problem is the pre-orders. I heard there's only 60,000. Not 400,000, 60. Like, fuck, how we ever... I mean, so I'm going to be up and ready. I have 2 people, 2 credit cards, 2 accounts. Hopefully we get through and get one at least, you know? I don't have a choice. I feel like I don't have a choice because I'm pitching so much, and that's how you want to pitch.
And if you're working for yourself, it's pretty much a tax write-off.
Well, it's certainly a tax write-off, but it's still $4,000. Dude, like, I mean, God damn it.
This camera alone,
yeah, right. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm very annoyed at the price. Oh, and did you see that's just the base price?
Yeah, madness.
Come on, Apple. Come on, Apple.
Like, there are many issues facing VR180 from having it go mainstream. A big part of it is accessibility. There's a big financial paywall that's stopping a lot of people from getting into it. So
yeah, it's expensive.
When you think about the scale, when you think about scaling up, especially like new social media platforms, it's about accessibility. Like Instagram is free, TikTok is free,
right?
To a degree, right? And any kid can pick up their mom's iPhone and create content, and boom, there you go, off to the races. It might not be good content, but it might go, you know, it might take off to the moon. But with VR videography, you have to have the camera, you have a good camera, and that's already like off top, like, you know, 1,000, 2,000, whatever. You have to have like the computer to edit it. Yeah. You have to have the software to do so. You have to have the time and knowledge to learn it. There's a very large paywall to get into it that prevents a lot of young creators and people who have the time, and people who have who have the creative mindset to just try and experiment new things. That's how you got Musically blow up and turn into TikTok into the beast that it is. You have it's about accessibility, and one of my big concerns about the future of VR videography is the accessibility factor. It's like, it's just not affordable to these new kids. Like, we're losing out on a lot of young blood.
It's a catch-22 because if Meta doesn't care about video at all, that's 20 million headsets. So if they cared and they spotlit the good stuff, that would make manufacturers say, "Oh, yeah, we should make that's the chicken or the egg thing." And I'm hoping Apple picks it up, although it looks like they're doing spatial instead.
So here's what I like about that idea: the even though their iPhone 15 spatial is really just like 3D in like a limited view, at least those are devices in the hands of kids, right? It's, you know, a $1,400 for a phone is still not that affordable, but eventually it will be.
Right.
And
it's something you get anyway.
And it's something you could dip your toe into, right? So what AV Pro is doing well is that they're trying to make sure that things are still backwards compatible to 2D devices. So when you think about the iPhone, the first iPhone, right? They made sure that things were backwards compatible with dumb phones, with your Nokia brick phone. So you can still text, you can still email, you can still call. But on top of that, you can also browse the internet and you can download apps. So while it's still backwards compatible with old tech, you can still do new shit. So with AV Pro, like you could still do, deprecated, like only on your phone kind of shit. But you could also do stuff with your phone that will apply to this new spatial part. So they're trying to make sure that all 2D things are backwards compatible and done well, but they will embellish upon it with spatial elements. I think eventually they will. Well, I'm obviously hoping eventually they will say, okay, now that we've gotten you used to this, now we're going to show this. And definitely
I'm hoping,
premiere content,
right?
For sure.
Because as cool as the spatial video thing is, and
it's just to dip their toe.
It's nothing like this.
It's nothing.
This
like
is crazy.
Right.
So I'm bummed. I kind of was hoping that they would have just come out with this and done this, because that's all they had to do. Now this is all a battery, unfortunately. But if you could just get one little bubble lens here and a bubble lens there, oh man, there you got it, dude.
Back in the day, I used to have a Evo 3D. It was like a 3D phone, and it was on the back, and you could take like these like 3D photos, and it had like a 3D display on the front. Really, like it looked like a shitty lenticular, but it was there. The idea was there. The stereoscopic on the back of a phone with like a further IPD. It existed. Right. So there is precedence, and it could definitely happen if and when spatial.
What do you think about the whole? The guys at DOVR were like, "Fuck the 60 millimeter, making it 65 millimeter." They're putting a lot. Is there something going on with like? They're Slovenian, or is there something with like those people have a wider eye set? So to them it looks like it blew my mind they spent that much time going into this to make it when I didn't find was it not the opposite? It was 65 going 60, or was it 60 going 65? This is 60. Okay. They took it and moved it out further. And I was like, which is interesting because it's really difficult because human beings have such disparate eyesights, right? IPDs. Like I'm on the higher end, for example, but there's are you? What are you at? I'm 68. I'm 67. Yeah, 68. Yeah. That feels like right in the middle. There's like a really good article about how, and it was really interesting. So they noticed that a lot of women on the first Quest were getting motion sick more than guys. Right. And the incorrect conclusion from that was, I guess women it was an IPD thing. Yeah. So like it turns out women just happen to have like on average lower IPDs than men. Yeah, my wife is 55. 55. They go down to 55, 54, and 56, 60 is like the median for women. And it's just wild that like that's what happens when you don't when you only have a bunch of tech bros, commanding these products, and that's where diversity matters. But I mean, I don't know what the actual solution is as far as filming, because I mean, once you filmed it, it's baked in. Yeah. The only thing I can think is that you have 4 lenses and you pick, because if you have, I wonder if there's a way to like horizontal offset, like if there's like a you can, but you still have to choose. Yeah. But what I'm saying is if you had the lenses have to be so fucking big though, because if you had 4 you'd see them. I'm not sure what the answer is. I think you pick the middle. I like it, like, so we're 66, 67, whatever we're at. This is 60. I think this looks perfect. Things might look slightly bigger than life. I don't mind that. When I watch some of the stuff they've shot, everything looks too tiny to me. Yeah. Right, like that dancing salsa bitch. Like I'm like, it looks like it's weird. Yeah. It doesn't, something isn't working for me. Which can be exploited to certain effects. Like if you want to. Oh yeah. If you want to have like the perspective of a toddler looking up, then great. That's cool. Or I have a second one of these on the way. Right. I needed a backup for the Super Bowl, and I didn't say it at all. I'm gonna do the I'm gonna do the shot where I have it like this, so everything looks smaller. Yeah. I always think those are cool, like where it's a big head. Yeah, I remember when there were a lot more people with homemade dual GoPro rigs. Yeah. And it was really cool to see like the miniature thing. The miniature, the whole diorama look. Yeah, that was really sick. Yeah, that's very cool. Which is just way too much work post. But anyways, dude, I would love to talk about. Here's one thing that I've been
really discovering on my own. Where I read this. I've been reading this book called Hyper Reality by Curtis Hickman. I learned about him the Voice of VR podcast. Shout out Kent By. He's this guy who made VR experiences like location-based experiences for like Ghostbusters and Marvel and Star Wars. And this book is about his design principles of what makes a good VR experience.
Right.
And as I'm reading it, like I realized a lot of the shit that I've done wrong, and it's like why it's wrong. And I have to look at the things I've done right and why it's right. And a big part of it is considering what is the role of the audience, right? So as we both know, like the camera is a person.
Yeah, those are their eyes.
And he was identifying how what is like a typical audience member has one of four roles. Right? They are the witness, the victim, the sleuth, and the killer. And he was explaining how a witness is you're in the room, but the world does not acknowledge you. You're just there to witness, right? Victim is things are happening to you, right? So I'm saying, hey, cheers, buddy.
Yeah.
Like, cool. I'm giving you a toast, but you can't really do anything. Things are just happening to you. I'm punching you in the face,
right.
But you can't do anything. Sleuth is you can do things like you can turn the water bottle, but it has no effect on the ultimate story. And then killer is you can do things and it has an effect on the story.
Got it.
Right. So of those four things, like because he has VR experience, it's a game, so he can go up to killer.
Right.
But because we're working with VR video, we can really only do two. You could do witness or victim, but then you could kind of fake the sleuth, right? So I could be like, oh, so what's your favorite food? And no matter what you say, I'll be like, oh, that sounds terrible. Right. But whatever. So you could fake sleuth, and he's talking about how within the VR experience, like how narrative unfolds from an experiential point of view, because he fully admits that 2D is still better at certain things, like long form narrative or narrative dramatic beats, how that plays out, and it's stepping in and out of gameplay and into just watching, right? Yeah. So it's taking all of this into account and just the philosophy of it, and how you can extrapolate that to a passive VR180 experience, that this is best for the experience of. So as long as you make it experiential,
but here's the problem I'm saying is that when it's this hard to get people in it, it doesn't quite matter until it's a pair of glasses we're all in anyway. Right, that's the problem, because
we need bangers. We need viral VR videos. I like to call virtues. We need viral virtues, like something that's like undeniable, like because it's when I said experience, right? Like the NFL experience.
Or I will say, I mean that baseball thing. The reason the baseball thing changed everything was because
stellar.
You're sitting in the dugout, right?
Yes.
And I'm not a baseball fan, but I was so into the game, right? There's a much longer version that I didn't put, right? Where you're watching the runs, you're seeing them coming up, that fucking kid who kept messing with the guys, trying to go up, can you sign my fucking ball? I'm like, dude, it's the bottom of the ninth.
And that is an experience that you can't simulate in 2D. Right?
That's exactly. Well, it's the same thing with porn, right? Like it's the exact same feeling. Like, okay, I'm here, I'm present. This is fucking.
And you're playing the role of victim, where things are happening to you, but it's convincingly so.
Right. I mean, there's some witness porn, I guess, you learn that way. But either way, the idea that it's something you've never and again, how do you get people into seeing that if the people that are hosting the content do not push it? Right. When they go to those places, just to find it means you have to watch awful, and I mean awful stuff. And it's not because you guys are bad at it. It's because you just bought this camera.
Right.
You're you're just getting it uploaded is such a pain in the butt, right? So like, I understand why people buy all this stuff and they're uploading bad videos, because they never had a skill set to make good
everyone's
videos.
Still learning best practices.
Oh, it's so hard, dude. It's so hard. So,
but it's been fun, like learning. I have like this Google Doc, this running Google Doc I've been developing over the past 2 years of like everything I've learned.
Right.
It's like, oh, okay, so I should always keep it at eye level, or really consider. Like really, so building context. That was like a big part of something I learned recently. Where, for example, I have this video where I'm at a rave watching Neo Archives in LA, and I love this part where I'm just like giving daps to the homies,
Right.
and gives you like context of like who the camera is. For example, if the camera is like up high, like when you see this on a lot of tour videos, the camera is up high, way taller than people should be. It points out to the fact that I am a camera in that world.
Yeah.
Like I am not a person. But when you lower the camera to head height, it's like, okay, I am there.
I am there.
And I think it's super important to not only consider the audience's body position, but to also give them context. I'll be like, hey, you're sitting at the bar with us. Hey, be sure to drink along every time this fool says NFL.
Right.
And to let them know that, hey, you're at a bar and you are also at seated height as we are. Then boom, it's just like giving them context. That's like, there's a lot of all these interesting things that you never really have to take into account in 2D video, but for creating virtues, it's like, it's something that we're learning.
The other problem is, I think when you make it a little too talking to them, it's uncomfortable. Some people feel like, I showed a few people, just me sitting at the bar with Don having a drink, talking. They were like, I feel it's too much. I didn't choose to do this. I mean, porn obviously is too much, but like even this, if you're not into that, sometimes people just want to watch a movie and they don't want to be part of it. So I guess in the 75 films I made, like I've started to see, oh, this is this kind, this is that kind, this is, I'm going to travel and nobody's going to be looking at me. But looking at the person, it is uncomfortable for a lot of people to have you even looking in the camera. Yeah. Which is a weird thing. You never think about that. It isn't uncomfortable when you're on TV.
Are you uncomfortable? I hope not.
Right, but I mean, like when we're watching on TV and the fourth wall's broken, we're like, he talked to the camera. That's great. You do it here, it's like, hey, what are you staring at me for?
Right.
That's weird, right? That's I mean, I've learned more from watching people react to what I've shot than anything. I mean, because that's all I do is show people this stuff, pitch stuff with it. I mean, the different. There was a lady at the NFL who, when my two kids came up on Super Nintendo World, was like, "Ugh, kids, dirty." That's what she she was like, "Ooh, I don't like kids," and I'm like, "Okay, fuck." I never even occurred to me that you wouldn't say that on a flat TV,
right?
But if you're standing there with my kids and you don't happen to like kids,
yeah, understandable. I mean,
weird.
Yeah, that's also part of why, like, places like DOVR need like algorithm feeds to like, because otherwise you're just going to be flooded with like shit that you don't care about.
DOVR should curate the best stuff. Period. But should be on that front.
From a developmental like perspective, like because of their small staff, like I understand. It's like the reason why they have categories instead of keywords. The reason why like it's either trending or new, but never algorithmic.
Yeah, but I know
it's a large infrastructure that's really difficult.
But I know
build.
They told me they have a rule that trending can only be there for 2 days, and then they switch it, and they just keep going back and forth. And I'm like, goddamn. If that's the case, that shit at the top, first of all, that you can't even see in VR, which is crazy. You'd see it on the PC, their scrolling stuff, that's all their stuff. Your opening page should be the best stuff. And they've shot amazing stuff. That shaman thing, that was Vega Brothers, that was fucking badass. I wrote to them immediately. I was like, oh my god, finally. And then it's a whole bunch of girlfriend stuff, and I'm like, okay. Guys, come on, dude! Like, what's the point? Either do it or don't do it. Yeah, it makes me crazy.
I when I watch those, like a girlfriend experience, I was like, you're a bunch of nerds.
Well, like, it's just frustrating because then guess what I want to do? I'm like, oh, great. Now I gotta go watch. Like, I wasn't even thinking about it, man. Yeah. I was trying to watch some cool VR180 shit. Now I don't watch hardly anything anymore because I'm so busy producing it, right? But I'm bummed because I know there are good filmmakers out there that have this camera that just need to learn, and they can't find any of my shit either, dude. Yeah. Like that Bo dude. He's like, huh? How the fuck? How did you miss me? God damn, dude! Like, it makes me crazy.
I mean, there's a lot going into it where like the best YouTubers, they also have like a very large social presence, right?
Yeah.
And
like you.
And like my big point about the lack of accessibility for young audiences, to create their own user generated content. The people who can afford to do this, are typically older and have the money and time and at least some kind of background that allows them into this field. And because of that, like
the energy lacking,
as well as just like the social know-how of social media. Like I used to have a podcast, the Pen Click podcast. It was a poetry podcast, and during the pandemic, we doubled down and like daily post, sometimes 3 a day, and oh my days, it's like I burnt out so heavy on it. Like if I still had the same like 2020, 2021 energy going into my VR shit, like yo, I would have.
Well, that's what my last year was, right? Like that, I had that energy like I was a 20-year-old. Like I was going and going and going and editing. I mean, guys, 75 videos is a lot of fucking videos. To the level that I was doing it, all of them AK60, all of them from New Zealand to Costa Rica to Colombia. Like I went everywhere, New York, San Francisco. Did you saw obviously walking up to Christopher Lloyd? That was the fucking coolest thing. I mean, god damn it! I wish I could get more Back to the Future fans to be able to see that shit. Like
So, what I love about like a lot of your videos is that like whether you intended to or not, it is very like experiential of like I am witnessing alongside with you, which is really good. And like that's something that a lot of new VR video creators like kind of miss. Is like the intent of and
the intent of
what is the intent of the camera?
Oh yeah, of course,
right. Like because too many people like treat it like a regular camera where like it's like they want to see like my hand grabbing the
right.
This. So they'll have like the camera hella close.
Yeah.
It's like no, that means that your face is super close. It's like no, that's dumb.
Yeah, the first. I mean, even this is actually a little.
This is a little close, yeah.
Right?
Because I remember watching that video of you and the actor.
Yeah,
and I was like.
Yeah,
I'm trying to. So I'm zooming out in DLVR. It's okay. Set it to like 0.8, and you'll be good.
Yeah. Well, it depends on what you're doing, but yes, it's honestly it's the layout of the bar. It could be a little bit further back, but I like it. I mean, shit. You know. But
so,
yeah, good point.
Let's talk about. Let's talk about.
Yeah. Let's wait. Let's do some roundup shit.
The future of VR180.
Yeah. Future of VR180.
So. Live sports is like a clear.
Yeah.
It's very clear. Like I remember the first live sport thing I saw in VR was a kickboxing match.
Yeah, but it was flat.
No, it was stereo. It was stereo. It was in YouTube. It was stereo.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but I mean the bullshit X Stadium's doing, it's all flat.
No, I'm not talking about that. I saw it in like 2019 or 2020. It was incredible.
Yeah.
And like it felt like I was ringside. And eventually I would do my own like VR virtue for boxing, where I had my homies box in the ring, and I did both like a turnbuckle point of view where you're like sitting at the corner, and I was also in the ring as they fought it out and made sure that my camera didn't get punched. And that was like one of my I don't care what anybody says. You need a strong VR legs for that, but I fucking love that video.
Well, it's funny. The halftime show at the Rams game was wrestling. And I ran. I haven't. I've seen put it together, but I have like this. Like I jump it over my shoulder and shit, and I'm holding it. I gotta put it. I never put it together because we didn't need it for the NFL thing. But,
in DLVR, there's like a Japanese there's a women's Japanese wrestling thing, and it's great. Like it's just that like their vertical disparity is a little off that you have to adjust. But once you adjust that in the DLVR settings, it's fantastic. It's a fantastic watch. So. I'm saying live sports is like kind of a no-brainer, but on top of that, what do you think are other content formats?
To me, it's narrative. Like live sports has nothing to do with us. That's not. It's the narrative. It's the Last Dance is to basketball what NBA on TNT is. They're two separate things. Live sports is a completely separate issue. Apple's dealing with that. They're going to have their own cameras. Mm-hmm. They've got that covered. The stories that surround live sports that you can't actually watch live, like nobody's gonna really want to be actually in the dugout and hear what everybody said. Like that's a thing you do afterwards, or the stuff that I did with the Rams that was all pregame stuff, and passing the ball with Cooper Kupp and hanging out and doing all that. That to me is telling a story. I got video of him playing with his kids, Aaron Donald playing with his kids, like that kind of stuff. That kind of narrative in the moment being there to me is everything. Absolutely everything. Telling I mean I'm
so
more
it's very
documentary. Yeah, I feel like that. Now when it comes to cinematic, it's coming, but I actually think
it's difficult.
I think it's so gimmicky right now.
It is.
I think you have to step away from the hey, and you've got to step back a little bit and allow the viewers to feel a little more invisible, because right now it's a little uncomfortable. I think if it's going to be cinematic, if you're going to really do something really good in cinematic, you got to put them back further.
Narrative is tough.
Yeah,
narrative is tough, especially when it comes to drama. When you think about like a discussion, like when I was doing rideshare, it's like there's a lot of things that I wish I had done differently. But a big part of it is this would have been better in 2D because it was originally written as 2D.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to experiment.
Right.
And what I think is the future for narrative and fictional content for Virtue is supplemental marketing material for 2D. For example, if you imagine like Wednesday season 2 on Netflix, imagine like leading up there would be like a VR180 for this is Wednesday, and she's introducing you to her family, giving you a tour of the Addams Family house, a tour of Nevermore. Oh, yeah. There's a lot of like. Or
that's documentary shit. That's
or maybe it's like a one-off story within. So right. let's say like these two go out to investigate what's happening at the docks. So the supplemental Virtue for that episode is what actually happened at the docks, and now you're with them.
Yeah.
Like discovering the docks while the main Netflix storyline is happening in episode 5.
Well.
Right?
Yeah, that works too. Or it literally just becomes a camera behind the person, right? So when I was in New Zealand, I was on the outrigger boats, right? Yeah. And this big, long motherfucker was doing that stuff, and I had a shot just slightly above his head, almost like in a video game.
Yeah,
right. Not just video game. I looked like I was a video game,
like third person.
And after a while, or on the NFL stuff, the shot behind the running back. Right? You're playing Madden.
Yeah.
This is fucking Madden. It's a video game.
Yeah.
So if you look at it that way, I don't think that will make viewers feel uncomfortable. So if you're going to tell a story, say you're telling the story of being a running back on this thing, you just follow him around in such a way and you move it in such a way that you're just an observer or a witness to that. I think the second you turn to the people and play with it, you're going overly gimmicky, and I think it just feels kind of cheesy.
I think having them play victim is like it's an experience on its own right.
Sure.
Like I wouldn't say gimmicky. I would say it's a technique that is improperly used. I would say because I've seen a lot of bad witness videos where like there's fly on the wall, and because you're just like watching these two people talk,
boring.
It's boring.
Yeah, it's boring. Right.
So that's
just
all
writing,
about your intent.
That's just writing. It has to be good 2D. It has, you know what I mean? It's just writing. Yeah.
So when it comes to like what I think is the future for, it's like once price drives down, once you get young people into the game, like that's like the real marker. Because right now it's just older folks that can afford to do it and have the background knowledge to do it. I'm so lucky.
Yeah, but you're clearly talking about the guy pushing 50 that's doing it.
Not even. I'm just talking about all of us, honestly. Like I'm almost in the 40s club. I'm almost there. But listen, it's like, and I myself, it's like, look, like 20-year-old folks, like they can smell that. They can smell the age around. I'm like, all right, whatever, dude.
Well, we're a couple years off because obviously I think the Apple Vision Pro is a great leap, but it's. I mean, they shouldn't have ever released anything that's this expensive. I'm sorry. It should have $1,990 to $2,400. I mean, maybe you'd have been all right.
There is the argument, like, because sadly it's Bradley. Shout out. He's been arguing for how he wishes that there were more VR hardware companies that went expensive and good first before going mass market and because Meta Quest 2, it had a lot of wonk about it, but it still made it very accessible. And while I champion accessibility, I also understand the other edge of trying to get it good as possible first before going to mass market scale.
But I don't. If Meta had simply chosen to act like video meant anything, they're just doing games. There's a reason Apple came in and said, fuck games.
Right.
We're going to do entertainment and work. That's huge. That was a massive, you really fucking missed out, Meta. You know, like you did. Like you're wrong here because not everybody thinks it's a gaming thing. Some people just want to chill. And so I'm hoping they're right. There should have been 2 versions straight up because my God, $3,500 to start is outrageous, dude. and I got the money for it, and it's outrageous. Like, that's outrageous.
It makes you wonder, like, who is this made for? It's an overpriced dev kit, is what it is.
It is. That's exactly what it is, dude. So I'm hoping this is quick, and this fall they do an Apple Vision, not Pro, for $19.99. Okay, that's still outrageous.
Still outrageous.
But at least they're like, okay.
But it's within smartphone range.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Why would they have even doubled? I mean, this is so stupid expensive. So
that's a big part of it, right? Like that's something that. All right, so back in the day, like in like the early 2000s, when a Nokia brick phone was like $150 or $200, that was expensive to us. That was expensive. It's like, fuck, that thing's $200.
Yeah, well, I mean,
but now, like the latest iPhone will be like $1,400, and people don't bat an eye. It's like, oh yeah, well of course it's $1,400. It's the latest.
Right, but it has turned into like a car. Like it's as useful as your car. In fact, it might be more useful than your car. So you can bring up a car. Yeah, it's now a utility. Yeah, so
what I'm saying is that like the price of a headset, the $4,000 headset or $2,000 headset, it won't be so out of the question once the utility is there. But until that point, we are still at the $300 is really expensive for a Nokia brick phone. We're still in that field because like a Quest 2 was like $300, and people were still saying it's still a little pricey.
Yeah, I know that's true because it was a.
And in 2006, your Nokia brick phone, your Trap Fizzy.
We said that today, January 2024, that you think that I mean that's a good way to end it because I don't want to keep rendering these files.
Yeah.
But yeah, until it's a utility, it's not going to be. I mean the Ray-Ban, Meta's Ray-Ban glasses.
I got a pair.
Did you? What do you think?
Love them. Yeah.
Yeah. When that gets to where you see shit and so forth. And we're maybe the Nreal glasses actually are.
Yeah, it's not compatible with my phone, but I was like really wishing. And I know they have like the little puck, like the computing puck, but it's like that's just more wires hanging. I'll look like a Borg, like cyborg with just like hella wires on me.
Oh, you gotta, on the plane to the Super Bowl, I'm gonna be wearing this shirt with my Apple Vision Pro and my wire hanging down, and just be like, look at me, look. So, if I'm gonna spend this much fucking money. Oh, I'm going to be wearing that shit on a plane.
What do they call them? A glass hole?
A glass hole. You don't have a choice.
Yeah.
Like, I need to be able to market. Like, of course I'm going to have to do that. I spent $4,000. I got to somehow recoup that money. Jesus, of course I'm going to be a glass hole. Anyway, this has been the Virtual Presence Podcast. This motherfucker, goddamn. He wasn't like this before I turned the camera on. He's like, hi. I'm Dave. I'm sorry. Let me help this out. And then you're like,
Kuya Quattro in the bill. You know what it is. We out here, LACA all day, every day. 323 representing. You know what it is.
Oh, Jesus Christ, dude.
Check out my channel, Kuya Quattro, on DLVR, on YouTube VR, on most social platforms, Blue Sky, X, Twitter, Instagram.
I'm gonna hire him because I can't do any of this. I just make it. I don't have any of this.
I was at the DLVR event, and I'm like the only one that knows how to talk to people.
I like talking to people, but I can never pimp myself the same way. I just can't do it. I feel silly.
Yeah, well, I used to rap, so like, so I got the stage presence. Like, I could turn it on. I could turn it on.
You might need to see Adam and the Egos. I mean, I could do it. I just still feel stupid.
By the way,
anyway, what?
There's only I hope to make one of the first good VR180 music videos. Because there's so much dog shit awful ones.
I'm sorry. Hugh Howe's one with the people dancing was pretty fucking badass, dude. Did you see that one? Yes. I think it's Hugh Ho. I'm sorry.
There's only one that I really like. It's by this kid named Matt Sato. Really simple. It was made in like 2016 or something. Wow. But it's great for what it is. It's like really simple. Camera movement, they slow and steady. He's dancing all throughout the house. The frame is never boring, and it's like just
right.
They got everything right.
Well, what are you shooting? What are you shooting with?
I used to shoot on a Vuse XR.
Yeah, I still have one.
Yeah, and it's a great camera.
It's for $400.
And then I thought I would upgrade to the CAF VR camera. I'm so mad I spent that money. Don't do it unless you're a beginner. But if you're looking to upgrade, don't do it. It's a camera of compromises. I will soon put out a fucking review video about it. But I am upset livid.
Why? Okay, we got to keep going.
Keep going. All right. Well, so
because I thought that was finally something that would be
okay. It's good for beginners, right? It records straight off the top, equirectangular, so you don't have to do so much post processing. But the fact that it cuts off, there's vertical cutoff, so it'll cut off like about like 18-20 degrees. So if I'm here, my knee will be like pixel spaghetti. It'll just like pixel stretch blur. So if you're trying to get real close and tight, so let's say like I'm trying to tell you a secret, like part of my legs.
Wait, is that in the processing? Could you just shoot it fisheye and then do it for you?
That's part of how they get the cost down by like just like cropping on the chip.
Oh,
and then like on the current 2024 January firmware, like the exposure and ISO settings kind of work. Sometimes they don't. The only thing that really consistently work is the EV. Audio is shit. The low light is shit. Like there's this weird pixel blurring that happens. This frame blending thing. There's a lot going on right for beginner cameras. Like, okay, you could technically go directly from memory card to YouTube VR, DOVR,
right?
You know, off top. But God, there's like, it's a camera compromises that like it's not. It's the new entry level camera. I'll say that it's the new entry level camera.
Yeah, but if you're gonna spend, it was still over
$2.
Yeah, like that.
I bought that shit on retail, so I can complain about it because I paid for it.
Okay, well, I mean, but like. You can now get this for $56 for the whole kit.
Yeah, 56.
I'm sorry. That's a lie. I'm sorry. I just said that like I'm a fucking millionaire.
It's just $56. You know,
but I mean,
Adam's out here, Mr. Moneybag Adams is like, hey, all good, baby. You know, it's like, let me get my dinosaur egg and make an omelet while I get another.
You got baby on the way, right? Like you're in that mode. I was in that mode 10 years ago. Like I get it. You're in that. Oh shit, here we go mode. Yeah.
Please check out my other VRLOGs and subscribe and comment. It means the world to me.